50,000 ये तनख्वाह की और बिल हमारा बिजली का 26,000 आ गया है। अब इसको हम इसको भरें या घर का ख़र्चा चलाएं, और गैस का भी इतना महंगा है कि किसको पूरा करें।
This is the plight of almost every Pakistani from the lower and middle income group ever since the government hiked the electricity tariff. The cost of electricity has doubled in the last 3 months to about 50 rupees a kilowatt. The hike has been met with protests that have rocked Pakistan over the past week, with thousands taking to city streets and setting their electricity bills alight. Several Pakistanis from the salaried class also went on strike last weekend, in response to a call by the Islamist party Jamaat-e-Islami.
हड़ताल की है बिजली की बिलों की वजह से। ठीक है, क्या बिल है? ठीक है, हमारे बिल अपने घरों के बिल आ रहे 17,000 रुपये, 13,000 रुपये बिल आ रहे पर मंथ के। ठीक है, पर मंथ के बिल आ रहे। हम तनख्वाहदार वाले बंदे, ठीक है, हम किस तरह यानी ये मैनेज करेंगे? बच्चों की स्कूल की फीसें हैं, आप यकीन करो स्कूल की फीसें एनुअल चार्जेस मिला के आप यकीन करो 13,200 रुपये वो मेरे को भरना है। मैं कहाँ से मैं भरूँगा? 17,500 रुपये का बिल भरूँ या 13,500 रुपये में एनुअल चार्जेस में बच्चों के स्कूल की भरूँ? मैं कहाँ से करूँगा? घर का राशन में कैसे करूँगा?
Closure of shops and markets during the strike is thought to have cost the country an estimated 10 billion rupees, as per a report by The Guardian. So, what led to the massive power tariff crisis in Pakistan, and what is the government doing about it? The hike has mainly to do with the conditions Pakistan agreed to for a $3 billion bailout by the International Monetary Fund or the IMF in June to avoid defaulting on foreign debt. In return, the global lender has asked Pakistan to increase tax revenue by ending welfare measures such as subsidies in energy and other sectors to boost fiscal discipline in the country. The bailout deal could be signed only after these conditions are met. Kristalina Georgieva, the managing director and chair of the IMF, said in a statement after the deal that the anticipated improvement in tax revenues is critical to strengthen public finances and to eventually create the fiscal space needed to bolster social and development spending. In parallel, the authorities urgently need to strengthen energy sector viability by aligning tariffs with costs, reforming the sector cost base, and better targeting power subsidies. Thus, in July, the power tariff was hiked at different rates for different categories of customers. Amid the crisis, experts are calling on the caretaker Prime Minister Anwaar-ul-Haq Kakar-led government to take measures such as providing subsidies to the most vulnerable after consultation with the IMF.
I believe the government needs to identify the vulnerable class and allocate some subsidy with the vetting from the IMF, but I think there's not much fiscal space left with the government to provide some major relief to the general public at this point in time.
Heeding the public anger and advice, when the Pakistani government approached the IMF this month with a proposal to let it implement power tariff adjustment or provision of additional subsidy, the international lending body rejected the request. Although the caretaker Prime Minister Kakar promised relief to the general public, on September 5 his cabinet said slashing the electricity bills would jeopardize a massive IMF loan. Apart from the IMF deal, another reason Pakistan's authorities have cited as the reason behind the power tariff hike is the elevated international energy rates in June. However, there are other structural problems at play at the domestic level as well as pointed out in an editorial in Pakistan's Dawn newspaper which said, "The bad news is that electricity prices in the country will continue to climb even after a downturn in international fuel prices as long as there is no move to undertake long-standing power sector reforms in order to sharply cut system losses, control the allegedly rampant corruption in the distribution companies, stop widespread power theft by the powerful, and, more importantly, reduce reliance on imported fuels by shifting to local fuels for generation and encouraging renewable energy." Pakistan is in the midst of political and economic turmoil, with a record inflation rate of 36.4%, and the Prime Minister, Imran Khan, ousted in April last year after a vote of no confidence. The country was also devastated by floods last year, which submerged much of the country.
बिजली के बिल इतने आ रहे हैं, महंगाई के हिसाब से बढ़ते जा रही है और पेट्रोल भी इतना बढ़ चुका है कि हमारी पहुंच से बाहर आते जा रहा है। सही, सारे मेहनत मजदूर लोग, पेशा लोग, सारे यहाँ पर काम करने वाले लोग हैं, रोज़ के खाने कमाने वाले लोग हैं यहाँ पर। सही, तो किस तरह अफोर्ड कर पाएंगे? ये तो बहुत मुश्किल की मुकाम हो गया इस टाइम, जो है ना, बहुत ज़्यादा ही हो गया है।
Petrol prices have shot up from 262 rupees a litre in June to 305 rupees this month. The price of wheat flour has more than doubled since August 2022, leading to a rise in the price of bread as well, as per the Pakistan Bureau of Statistics. The prices of other basic commodities such as sugar have also increased to 185 rupees per kilogram as the government suspects hoarding and smuggling of the sweetener. Amid the outrage, the question arises if the government of Pakistan can do anything to provide some relief to the general public, at least in terms of electricity prices. Analysts argue that the government can start by cutting some of the taxes added on to electricity bills and meet the revenue shortfall by taxing the undertaxed.